Hello, not Charlene. All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm teacher Nathan from Right Set Work, and today we'll be looking at P6 Tao Nan paper from 2023. Okay, so let's take a look at how grammar questions first. So looking at question 1, Raju's mother insisted that he dash the truth or face the music. So over here, we are interested in tenses. Okay, very good, Axel. You are fast. So when we look at tenses, let's observe some of the keywords. One is mother insisted. So this is my first verb. And I observe that there is a second verb here. So because there are two verbs, I will need to use the verbs of perception rule. Which means that the second verb has to be in the present tense and base form. As such, our answer will be number 1. Okay, very good. Now, looking at the other options, told here is in past tense. Tells is present tense and singular. Then we have telling, which is in the continuous tense. Yeah, this is pretty straightforward. So let's move on to question 2 now. Emily gave up playing the piano. Just as I said she would, dash asked Ruby. So over here, we are interested in question tag. The first thing we observe is gave up, which is in past tense. And we are looking at the action of giving up here, which is the basis for this question tag. Since it is past tense, and we have the word gave here, we can change it to she did give up, which is in the positive connotation. And the negative connotation will be didn't. Okay, yeah, very good, Axel and Shirley. Now let's go on to question 3. If I dash it was your birthday, I would have bought you a gift. So we are interested in tenses here. And the first thing we observe is this thing. I would have bought. So would here tells me it is past tense. Okay, we have a new friend today. Pui O Niao. Hello, good morning. Now, if you observe, would have bought is would tells me is in past tense. All right. And we have this action 1 first and this action 2, and both are in the past. As such, I'll be zooming on option number 3. Yes, very good. Because this is known as the past perfect tense, which shows that one action occurred before second action took place. Now let's take a look at the other options. Know here is present tense, knew is past tense, then the last one is have known. So this is in the present perfect tense. Okay, thank you, Axel. So when we use present perfect tense, we want to show that the action has been completed. However, the effect is still felt. Let me give you an example. I have read the news and want to know more. So we are trying to tell people that the act of uh, reading the news has been completed, but the effect of curiosity of wanting to know more is still present, and therefore we will use present perfect tense. Okay, let's take a look at number 4. Most visitors choose to travel bicycle. Of course, there are some who love to walk instead, said tour guide. So over here, we are looking at traveling, which is the movement from one place to another, and bicycle. So over here, this bicycle tells me a certain method. Hello, sad hamster and TikToker. So looking at the options, for these are all prepositions, by the way. Hello, Michelin star. On here shows the surface of object, while by shows a method that we do something. With here shows complementary elements, while about shows elaboration. So because we are looking at a way of traveling, we'll use number 2, by. Now moving on, let's take a look at question 5. I had choice but to complete my homework before playing with my little brother. Over here, we are interested in determiners, which are basically words that convey the quantity of something. So the keyword in our question is I had choice. So when we are looking at choice, this is uncountable. And you see there's the word but here to show the contrast. And therefore, we are looking at a low quantity and uncountable. So the answer is number 3, little. Now, let's take a look at the other options to learn them. Few here is countable. I have a few toy cars in my cupboard. Yes, very good. Pui o niao. Yeah, then next is less. Less here is uncountable. I spend less time here. Little is uncountable, as we have discussed. Some can be accountable or uncountable. He put in some effort to do his homework. That is uncountable. Some of my friends are in the canteen. That is countable. Okay, so I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information here for our first 5 questions. If you have any questions, do feel free to ask me in the chat. Okay, Chris John's question, why choices are uncountable? Because it's not specified. If I have number of choices, then it will be countable. I had a few. If there's the word number, then it will tell people that you can count. Okay, for choices, this is how we view this subject. But if we use other words, for example, options, then this one is countable. I have a few options to choose from. Okay. The word choices here, right? Or or rather here the word they just put choice. It's a bit I would say iffy in a sense that we will use it as we will consider it collectively. Okay. But if you say choices, then it's different. All right. If you put choices, which is with the es, then we can consider it as plural. I have many choices to choose from in the coffee shop. Then it is counted as countable. Okay, Chris John, in your question, you put choices, not choice. So there's that really tells a difference. Okay, let's go on to question 6 now. Using electronic devices for a prolonged period of time dash bad for our eyes, our teacher reminded us. So we're interested in subject verb agreement here. Okay, you can see that this is just a speech and the teacher is telling us this, and not forgetting this is a fact. So when we have facts, it will always be present tense. Next, we are looking at just the act of using one action here, therefore singular. As such, these two criteria points us to answer number 1 is. Yeah, very good. Pui O Niao and Axel. Now moving on, let's take a look at question 7. The team faced a myriad of hurdles. Dash the members persevered and emerged victorious. So over here, we're interested in tenses. Sorry, we're interested in conjunctions. I see wrongly. So we are just looking at the linking words that help us answer. Now you can see that they face hurdles, so a lot of challenges, but they persevered. When you have a lot of hurdles, it's very likely someone will give up, but they show, or the text says that the members persevered, that is, never give up. So this contrast here requires us to use a conjunction to link them. Yes, very good, Axel and Pui Ho Niao. The answer will be number 4, nevertheless, because this shows in spite of a fact. So they recognize a certain condition, but they are trying to tell people that the subject, which is the members, did not care about the conditions and tried their best. Now, we can look at the other options. 1, 2, and 3. All these show additional information. Okay, moving on. Let's take a look at question 8. Yes, it's English Ya 1, 2, 3. All the sports equipment dash moved to the storeroom, and now the room is bare and empty. So we're interested in tenses here. The first thing we observe is all the equipment. Equipment here is known as a collective noun. As such, we will use singular form. So we will ignore are and have. Next, we are looking at option 1 and 2, and we observe it is the word being used. So being over here is basically the past participle of be, which means an action is ongoing at a particular time. Now, we also observe that the room is bare and spacious now, which tells me that this action here of moving the sports equipment is completed already as we talk. So we cannot be using is being, because this means that the action is still ongoing as you talk. So we will use has been moved. Okay? Because this is a present perfect tense, which shows me that the action is completed, but the effect is still felt. And what's the effect? Being the effect is you feel very spacious when you enter the room. All right, let's move on. Question 9 here. Maria dash for studies in Australia. I have not kept in touch with her ever since. So we are interested in tenses here. And we observe a few things. Firstly, you have not kept ever since, which means that a certain action has started in the past. Of this action of not keeping in touch with Maria. At the same time, there's this second verb or action word here, which is Maria leaving Singapore for Australia. So this is my verb 1, verb 2. So looking at our options, the first one is left, which is in past tense. Leaves, present tense. Has left. This is present perfect tense. Which means that my action is completed. But the effect is still felt. Lastly, we have had left, which is in past perfect tense. This tells me that one action occurred. Before second action took place. So to understand this question, usually I will draw a timeline. You can see we have the present. So Maria left for studies sometime in the past. And you have not kept in touch since then. So actually, on this point, let's say 2022, Maria left for studies. Since this point, the author hasn't kept in touch with her from this point all the way until the present. So in a sense, we are just looking at just one past action here. Okay, and this second action started when the first action took place or was triggered. As such, our answer here would be number 1, since Maria left for her studies in Australia. Okay, very good, Axel. Lastly, let's take a look at question 10. We are looking forward to dash on a learning journey at the Science Center next month. So over here, we are interested in next month, which is in the future. So we will always be interested in present, something in the present tense. Okay. The next thing we observe is we look for to dash on a learning journey. So we're looking at this particular action and how when this action is ongoing, you will enjoy it. Okay, when you will derive satisfaction when the action is ongoing. As such, we will always be looking at the continuous form. So we look forward to going on a learning journey. Number 2. The first 3 options have been repeated by me quite a few times. So I'll just name the tenses for you, and we'll not go too in depth. Go is present tense, plural form. Going is continuous tense. And lastly, have gone here is present perfect. Now, the last one, having gone, this is the one that is more interesting because this shows completed action. So the action has been completed and you're looking back at the action. So we will say something like having gone to UK last year. I know the tourist attractions well. So I'm trying to tell people that in the present moment, I have this particular experience and I completed a certain action. That's why I use having gone and I explain my now. Okay, and this is how we use option 4. Alright, so good job everyone for keeping up so far. We have completed our grammar. Let me just give you some time to take in and revise the information I just shared. And if you have any questions regarding any of the questions, please sound out. Thank you. All right, if there are no further questions, then let me do some clarification from the previous time. The previous time, I remember there was someone who asked about despite and although. Okay, so let me just do a quick recap on this topic. I remember it was the Shiba, some Shiba, the username has a Shiba inside one. That guy who asked. Okay, so despite although we usually encounter these words in a conjunction kind of question. Okay, so the question will test you on some linking words and they'll purposely give you despite and although, and you're supposed to differentiate when to use what. So despite here actually is a preposition, while although is a conjunction. But both of them will always appear in the conjunction kind of question. So when we use despite, it is followed by a noun or pronoun. Whereas for although, it is followed by a clause. So what is a clause? A clause consists of 2 things, your verb and your noun. So your action word and your subject. So for example, a sentence for despite would be, despite the bad weather, we still enjoy ourselves at the beach. So if we observe here, the word despite the bad weather, so this is the noun or the pronoun that we'll be using. And for although, over here, okay, let me give you an example sentence. Although they are poor, the man and his family gave generously to the charity. So you can see that over here there are 2 things, the clause they and poor. All right. And here we go. This is how we will differentiate between despite and although. I hope this will clarify the doubts that some people may have, especially with regards to this topic. So usually for P6 papers and P5 papers, there will only be one option that is used to show contrast. But if the examiner wants to test on the student's understanding of the usage of this kind of contrast conjunctions, then they'll have despite, although, then probably there could be however together also in one sentence, and you need to decipher how to use them. Okay, I hope this clears out any doubts and it clarifies sufficiently. Now let's take a look at some vocabulary questions now. Look at question 11. The determined student was able to dash the difficult concept and solve the challenging problem. So the key word is you managed to solve something. That means he was able to overcome a difficulty. Now, exercise is number 4. Number 4 means you force yourself through something difficult or something that is holding you back. Now let's take a look at the other 3 options. I believe some of you don't know what are the meanings, because we don't usually use these phrasal verbs in our daily lives. Break in means that you're trying to train somebody to do a new job or activity. Now, the phrasal verbs will have more than one meaning. Okay, some of you may also know the other meaning of break in, which is you enter somewhere by force. The burglar broke in yesterday night and stole some money. Yeah, you can use that also. Break up basically means that you're able to you're able to divide something into smaller pieces. So for example, let us break up into smaller groups for discussion, right? So we are looking at a big class and how we divide the class into smaller groups. In this case, that is the pieces. Now, when you want to break off, it means you stop doing something. So for example, you break off from the talks to do something, right? So you can see, when we want to overcome a difficulty, we are trying to, this difficulty or the difficult concept is preventing people from understanding and learning. So in the very fact that they are able to solve it means that you force yourself through this difficult thing that is holding you back, holding you from learning. As such, our answer will be number 4. Okay, let's take a look at question 12. With a well-established ferry network, many of the beautiful islands are now dashed to avid travelers. So we are looking at how the travelers are able to visit all these islands. So looking at the options, the first one is catered, which means that you provide food and drinks. Usually it's like for a formal event. Available means that something is able to use or obtain. Dedicated means that that something is intended for a particular purpose. So for example, there is a dedicated room for learning in the library. It is set aside for special things, special use. Accessible means a place can be reached. And this is what we are interested in here. Okay, the answer is number 4. Because we are looking at how the beautiful islands can be reached by people. And the method of going there is ferry, your boat. Alright. Moving on, let's take a look at question 13. Stunned by the question, he paused dash before answering a few seconds late. So this is the keyword, a few seconds late. So we are looking at this very short time lapse. Now, exercise number 3, momentarily. This means a short time. Now, looking at the other options too, intermittently here means something is of irregular intervals and is not continuous. So, for example, in third world countries in Africa, there is intermittent electricity. That means sometimes the electricity will be available for 1 hour, then suddenly it will not be available for the next 3 hours. Then suddenly it restored for another half an hour. This is called intermittent. Indefinitely means for a period of time with no ending, no fixed end. While temporarily means a limited period of time. However, temporarily has a longer time frame than momentarily. So we are looking at just a few seconds. We will use option number 3. Alright, so very good job, Axel. Okay, let's go on to question 34. The widespread bushfires caused dash damage to the forest, resulting in a great destruction of the flora and fauna. So we're interested in this fact here. There is great destruction. That means there's a lot of damage and the damage is very serious. Looking at our options, the first one is irregular, which means something is not according to what is expected. Next, we have irreparable, which means something is impossible to repair or replace. Usually because this is in a very bad state. So bad until you cannot repair. Irreplaceable means something is very valuable and it's impossible to replace when lost. And lastly, irredeemable means that it cannot be saved or improved. So we are looking at how it's impossible to restore the flora and fauna that is badly burned and maybe destroyed by the wildfire. So we will use option number 2 to highlight the bad state of the plants and animals. All right. Yes, a very good, Axel. Now let's take a look at question 15. The marvelous painting is the perfect dash to the furnishing and decoration of our new apartment. So over here, we are looking at how the painting can add to the decoration of the new apartment. So it actually makes the apartment nicer. Okay, APT, I'll just call it as apartment. It's short form for apartment. So looking at our options given, the first one is conception, which means the idea of what something is like. Some idea, okay? Idea of something. Compilation means that you're trying to assemble information from other sources. So maybe I can say a compilation of exam papers from the various schools in Singapore. So that means I obtain the information that I put them together in a centralized place. Complement with the I here means that you're trying to praise or admire someone. Lastly, compliment with the E means that you have an extra feature that emphasizes the quality of something. As such, our answer here will be number 4, because we are trying to highlight how this painting actually make the whole apartment look even more beautiful. So it kind of brings out a certain character of that building or that room. Now I just give everyone some time to take in the information we have just learned for our vocab before we look at our vocabulary clues. If anybody have any questions, please feel free to ask me in the comment section. Alright, if there are no further questions, let's take a look at question 16 and the vocabulary clues. So what will happen is as follows. I'll read through the text with you and we will understand the words that are underlined first. Thereafter, then we'll take a look at our options and choose the correct one. Anticipation filled the air. We are going to embark on an exciting excursion to the nature reserve. The lush greenery enveloped us as we ventured deeper into the thick forest. So envelope here means you surround something completely. Here, the leaves and flowers in the forest created a kaleidoscope of colors. So this means for question 17 here, you're looking at a mixture of patterns. Okay, your kaleidoscope is this tool where you have a lot of mirrors in like this telescope. Then you can see a lot of colors due to the reflection of light. Chatting animatedly, we hike carefully along the long meandering trail. So meandering here means winding. So it's not straight, there are a lot of twists and bends. And your trail here is basically a path in the forest. Marveling at the breathtaking scenery around us, our experienced guides led us through the forest where we spotted exotic wildlife and a vibrant array of wild blooms. Array here means that there is an impressive display of something. By the end of the day, we felt tired but contented. I am beat, but this outing is certainly well worth it. Beat here is used as a adjective. Okay, it's not a verb like what we always use it. So this adjective here, you're trying to describe someone as completely exhausted. So you are very, very tired. All right. So with a rough understanding of all these meanings, let's delve right into our options. Question 16 is this one, envelope, which means that you are surrounded completely by something. So looking at our options, the first one is shaded. Shaded means that you just take shelter from sunlight. Next, when you cover something, you are trying to conceal something. So it's like you want to cover the blanket over your body. So you're trying to conceal your body or you want to keep warm. Next, we have enclose, which means that you surround something. And lastly, we are surrounded, which means all around. So these two words, option 3 and 4, enclosed versus surrounded, both have a very similar meaning where a larger entity covers up a smaller thing. But the intensity is different. All right. So when you want to uh, talk about being fully covered up of a higher intensity, we will look at option number 4, surrounded. Okay. Now let's take a look at the second option, the second word, kaleidoscope, which means a mixture of patterns. So looking at our options, the first one is set, which means you are trying to assume a specific position or posture. Next, when we look at burst, we are looking at a sudden outbreak of activities, a flurry of activities, if I may use another word. Next, we have a pattern, which means that there is a repeated uh, design of something. This design is usually decorative. Lastly, when you use a repertoire, it means that all the music pieces in a concert. So definitely option 4 is out. And when we look at kaleidoscope, we're just looking at designs and patterns. So the closest option that we will choose would be number 3, pattern. Okay. We could also say that this is like a direct synonym. Now let's take a look at question 18, meandering. That means something is a winding, and we are looking at this path in the forest that has a lot of twists and bends. So looking at the options, the first one is winding path, which it means something is twisting, and path here refers to some kind of course or a route, sorry. Now the next one is crooked. Crooked has this meaning that something is bent out of shape. So we will not use this word for this question because there is no indication that the trail was purposely shaped in a certain twisting manner. Now, twisted course here means something is forced out of shape. Okay, so these two words here don't actually have the same meaning as meandering because there is this idea that there was human intervention. There was some deliberate uh, altering of the road. Okay. Lastly, irregular here means something is not balanced in arrangement or shape. Again, there is this element of human intervention which is not specified in our text. So we will not use this particular word. Yeah, very good. Pui O'Neill. Yes, the answer will be number 1 when something is winding. Now, the word trail here just means a route, a road, right? And there isn't any difference if you say path, road, course, or passageway. All of them have similar meaning. That's the reason why I only zoom in on the adjective, which is this first word here that describes the nature of the trail. Okay, let's take a look at question 19, where we look at an array of wild blooms. Array, just to recap, means some display which is very impressive. So looking at our options, the first one is batch. A batch means a quantity of goods packed. Display means a arrangement of things in an organized way. Formation here means in a way that has been naturally made or arranged. So for example, your geese will fly in a particular formation. It's natural instinct for them to behave and to showcase themselves in a certain way. Lastly, arrangement means you're looking at a certain plan of how something will happen. So over here, we're not just looking at how something will look, but we're not looking at just a plan, but we're looking at the outcome. The outcome that is very impressive, that is very beautiful. So we would say it was a display or something. Because this word here, organize, means something is visually and aesthetically appealing. Lastly, we have question 20. I am beat, which means that you are very exhausted or very tired. So looking at our options, the first word here is hanging on air, which means that you are extremely happy. Next, hanging in there means that you are not giving up despite challenges. Running out of steam means that you are losing energy in what you enjoy doing. While lastly, like a dog with two tails means you are very, very happy. So looking at our options here, the closest answer will be number 3, when you run out of steam. So when you lose energy means that you're going to be tired because you don't have that kind of momentum, that kind of vigor to do something. All right, yes, very good. Pre-O'Neill, the answer will be number 3. Now I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information I've shared. And if you have any questions with regards to vocabulary or this closed passage itself, do sound out to me. If not, let's take a look at our grammar close now. Did you know that the vaquita is the world's rarest marine mammal? Not discovered 1958. This dark and light grey animal has a distinctive black ring its eyes and a dark patch on its lips. So the first question 29, is testing you on a preposition here. And we observe. So we are looking at this time period from 1958 and before the particular marine mammal wasn't discovered. So we will use the word until to show that 1958, this is a pivotal year when there were changes to something. Now, question 30 tests you on another preposition. We are looking at the black ring and we have the eye. So we need to do some visualization. So put on your thinking caps and think. You have a black ring and your eye is this thing here. So we can see the black ring is surrounding this thing. So we'll use the word around. Today, a little dash half a century later, we dash be losing them forever. So we are looking at this time period has passed. Okay, so we need another preposition here to show this time period has passed. So you'll say a little over half a century. We dash be losing them forever. So you can see this losing them forever is not a 100% thing. So there is uncertain possibilities. As such, we will say we could be losing them forever. Okay, so over here we are looking at a modal auxiliary verb. These are basically verbs or basically words that will tell you or convey a certain meaning to the nouns in the sentence. So your nouns are your things, your humans, and these words actually tell you how they interact, how certain things they are giving offers, they are giving advice, how some things are obligations, for example. Many different factors have caused the vaquitas to be on the brink of extinction. There's conservationists working diligently to save them. So you can see that the second part of my sentence here is one fact. When the conservationists work diligently, it is expected that the vaquita will survive. But no, you can see that they're going to be extinct soon. So you can see that there is a contrast between the first and second half of the sentence. Therefore, we need a linking word to emphasize this contrast at the same time join them together, because the full stop is only at the end, not in the middle of the sentence. So we will use the word despite here. Okay. The main threat to vaquitas dash the accidental entanglement in fishing net. So we can see only one main threat. So this is a singular subject. And you can see this sentence here is actually a fact. It happens in real life. We are just telling you something that is true. As such, we'll always use a present tense to convey such information. So we'll say, and you can see singular subject. So we'll say is the accidental entanglement of fishing nets. Dash they can surface for air. The vaquitas usually drown and die. So for question 35 here, we are looking at this particular criteria, which is they need to emerge from the water to the surface, breathe in, breathe out. Then they can survive. You can see there is an outcome here. The outcome is they lack oxygen and therefore they will perish in the water. So to link my criteria to a particular outcome, we'll use the conjunction unless. Okay, let's move on. Other threats include pollution and climate change. In spite of these challenges, the conservationists have not stopped fighting, dash the odds. So you can see your odds here is something that is challenging, something that will make you defeated. But you can see that they are fighting and they are trying to overcome all these things. Can you see? That's why the language used is here have not stopped and is fighting. So when we look at this, we need to use a preposition here to show that the conservationists are trying to overcome the obstacles in the opposite direction of these challenges. So the preposition will be you're trying to fight against the odds. Then there are bans on illegal fishing being implemented, dash the vaquita habitats to protect them. So over here, we're looking at a particular location, not anywhere, but just their habitats. So to show that their habitats have a particular law protecting them, we will use the word in, okay, to show this location. Okay, the vaquita's plight highlights the importance of preserving marine ecosystems and the need dash sustainable fishing practices. So you can see your need. There is you need to do something, right? That's what is a need. And what is that thing? Here, they elaborate clearly. You need to be sustainable in your fishing practices. You need to catch just enough for yourself. You cannot overfish, right? So you can see that this is a elaboration of your need, which means we'll use a preposition called for to link my main point or main idea, the need, with what is that need. All right, I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information that I've presented for this grammar close before we move on to our next section. All right. And if anybody has any questions, do feel free to ask me in the chat section. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at editing now. So this is just a letter. So that's why it starts with Dear Raju. How have you been? As I sit down to pen this letter, I can't help but reminisce. So reminisce is spelled this way. About the cherished moments we have shared for the 10 years. I'm not really sure what is this missing word, but you can see we're looking at 10 years from the time they are speaking. So they started the friendship or this relationship 10 years ago. So we'll say the past 10 years. You have taught and dashed me that true friendship is not just about shared interests. You can see taught here is in past tense. Therefore, your verb here also needs to be in the same tense, which is past tense. So it will be showed. But being there for each each other, dash each other's dreams and celebrating each other's success. Okay, so you can see here celebrating, there needs to be in the same form. Okay, so you can see question 41 and question 42 have the same idea. They want you to identify the tense. Okay, that's step one. And ensure, number two, that all the verbs are in the same tense. That's why over here, we will change this to supporting each other and celebrating each other's success. One of the incredible dash that I deeply admire about you is your keen power of observation. So you can see, one of the tells me that this person has many qualities. So the quantity is very high. So therefore, I need it to be in the plural form. So it will be qualities. All right. In addition, you possess an ability to perceive and understand the world around us. So perceive is spelled this way. Spelling error. Life is unpredictable. It's a spelling error again. So when you are unsure of what the word is, what they want to test you, especially for those spelling mistakes, my advice is for you to split it up. Per, then you see, then you slowly read it using phonics. You'll be able to derive the desired outcome. Okay, time dash in your company feels effortless. So we're looking at a participle, an action that is completed. So we'll say time spent. Whenever I need a shoulder to cry on or share my joy and sorrow, you are just a call or text away. Whenever dash and bored, you will cheer me energetically. Okay, so over here, this one is it's a spelling error for lethargic. I'm not sure why it's not shown, but I think we just have this good opportunity to learn the spelling of this word here. Okay. You will cheer me on enthusiastically. So let's spell this word together. Enthusiastically. Your words of encouragement have always been a great source of dash. So you can see your source of here is you need a noun to because the source is an object. Motivate here, on the other hand, is a verb. So we are changing a noun to a verb. So it will be motivation. Pushing me to overcome the dash. I'm not really sure what is this word here, but let's just learn how to spell obstacle. Okay, overcome the obstacles. And there we have it. This is our editing answers. I'll just give everyone some time to take in this information. And if you have any questions, do feel free to ask me in the comment section. All right, if there are no further questions, let's take a look at the comprehension close. Have you ever heard of ChatGPT? If you have not, it is a language processing tool driven by AI technology that has taken the world by dash. So over here, when you take the world by something, it is a phrase to say that there is an increasing popularity for this technology. So this phrase will be you've taken the world by storm. Many people have been talking about its convenience and benefits, but dash all inventions, we must be careful as not only will there be advantages, but also dash related to their use. So over here, we're looking at how AI and ChatGPT has similarities with other inventions. So we are trying to draw this similarity. As such, we'll say, but like all inventions. And you can see here, they use the word advantages and the word but to show you how they are looking at the contrasting word, the antonym, right? So we are looking at the contrasting word, which will be disadvantages. If you want to use the word drawback, is also accepted. Drawbacks. One huge benefit of ChatGPT is its dash to generate responses to your questions at the dash of light. So you can see here that they can generate responses very, very quickly. So this capability to do something, we use the word this its ability to generate responses, or you can say its capability also can. All right, at the dash of light. So they are comparing the rate at which the response is generated to how fast light travels. So usually you will say you can generate responses at the speed of light. Students who struggle to keep up dash the pace in class or wish to dash on a topic would welcome it with open arms. So you can see when you're trying to keep up, and there needs to be something that you keep up to, and try to follow. That's why you can see they are looking at the pace. So we are looking at how you need to be on the same page as the teacher. You need to follow what the teacher says. So you two are together. So to highlight this togetherness, we'll use the preposition with to show that they are complementary. Okay. Next, you can see that the students. So this is the profile of people who like to learn more of a topic. So you will use an action word like research or topic, will welcome it with open arms. By engaging with ChatGPT in a chat or dash, we can get a vast dash on a topic. Now you can see when you engage somebody, that means you're trying to talk to the person. And you can do it in a form of a chat, which is informal, or can do it in a formal way, which would be a discussion. You can get a vast dash on various topics. Now you can see you want to gather something, and we also talk about research here. So we need to ask ourselves, what is the aim when you do all this? Well, it's to find out more knowledge. And you can see they have the words various topics here, so we'll use the word information on the various topics. Since ChatGPT can operate around the dash, users have access to its capabilities whenever they need. So we're looking at how something is 24 hours. The phrase would be you are doing it round the clock. Okay, so there are no two ways with regards to our question 60 here. So some of these phrases are used together, and they will definitely be of certain disadvantage if you are unaware of them. But that being said, that's the importance of practice, and writers at work can provide this practice for you, right? We are doing this text together with you such that you are able to understand how to use it and learn new phrases at the same time. So if you think this is useful, do join me tomorrow and on Friday, where we'll be doing the same thing on different papers. Now let's continue. While using ChatGPT can be helpful, be wary of the negative consequences. Firstly, the responses generated may not always be dash. To check for their accuracy. You can see. You need to check for accuracy. So the implied meaning is may not always be accurate. That's why you need to do some fact checking. Users should always dash them with credible sources and websites. So you can see you are using the credible source to kind of proofread and to confirm what ChatGPT says is correct. So you could say you will use this to cross-check. You can say corroborate, which means you have to ensure that both pieces of information from your credible website and from AI, they are both aligned. Secondly, ChatGPT is AI. Thus, it does not have emotions or empathy to deal with questions that dash emotional understanding. So you can see this is a particular requirement of some questions. Some questions may need that kind of understanding of a human, the human touch. So to show that this is a requirement, we'll say that need. Take note, questions is plural. Okay, we can say that require emotional understanding. Thirdly, ChatGPT is not always dash with its responses. It may provide conflicting and different answers to the same question. So to derive question 64, you need to have this keyword, conflicting and different answers. That means it's not always the same. It's not always behaving or giving answers in the same way. As such, we'll say it's not always consistent. Bearing these factors in dash, it is important to use these tools responsibly. So you can see when you want to bear something, that means you are trying to take note. So when you take note, where does all this action, where these thought processes go? In your brain. So you can say bearing all these factors in mind. So you're trying to tell people that you are thinking, you are evaluating the use of AI. And with that, we have come to the end of our comprehension close. I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information I just shared before we move on to our synthesis and transformation. Okay. The monitors were very pleased when they received the certificates. So now we're changing the word please, which is a verb, to a noun. So it will be great pleasure. Now then the rest of the sentence will be the same. So it will be the monitors All right, then that will be it. Only Mason and Benjamin have not submitted the consent form to their teacher. Okay, now we take note, there is this keyword here, everybody. So even though we are referring to many people, when you have a word that starts with E, the rule is it will always be singular form for your verb. So it will be everybody has submitted the consent form to the teacher. All right. Mrs. Tan asked her husband, "How did you come here?" Now this one is also very tricky. She asked the husband, so this is past tense already, which means that the the reported speech need to be in the participle form. Now you can see Mrs. Tan and her husband. So Mrs. Tan asked her husband, "How do you come here?" So we are looking at this particular place. So as a third person, when you hear this what they say, it will not be here, because here is between Mrs. Tan and Mr. Tan, this particular location. From a third person point of view, we are pointing at this particular location here, right? So it will be, instead of coming here, it will be going there. But we are looking at a participle form. So it will be how he had gone here must change to there. Okay, so it will be Mrs. Tan asked her husband how he had gone there. So sometimes when you are unsure of how the reporter speech is going to play out, you can draw this kind of little cartoon. And from a third person, when you hear the two people talking, what do you make sense of this information? And that will be important when you write the answer, as you can see here. Okay, let's go on. This popular restaurant is always fully booked. So you can see popular here is your adjective. And now they are trying to change this adjective to become a noun, such that this fact that is popular can become a reason. So it will become, due to its popularity, the restaurant is always fully booked. All right. Now let's go on to question 17. The master chef is the chief judge. Everyone sang praises about him. Now you can see everyone sang. So this is a verb. And the subject is everyone. And who is the recipient? The master chef. So this is the object. The reason why I'm trying to identify what is the object, subject, and subject of the sentence is because of the word whom here. Because whom should replace the object of the sentence. Okay, so when we have this kind of whom, this kind of relative pronouns in the middle, there needs to be two commas, and at the start it will be the person the pronoun replaces, and we have agreed that it will replace the object. Therefore, it will be the master chef whom everyone sang praises about is the chief judge. Okay, so just take note. when we have relative pronouns, we need to ask ourselves, who is it? What the relative pronoun is replacing which person? Is it the object or subject of the sentence? And that will affect how you organize or reorganize that sentence in your synthesis and transformation. All right. I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information I shared with regards to our synthesis and transformation. And if you have any questions, do feel free to ask me in the comment section. This paper is Tao Nan Primary 6 English Prelim 2023. Are there any more questions? If not, thank you so much everybody for joining me this morning on our Writers at Work TikTok session. I'm teacher Nathan. And if you'd like to learn more about P5 and P6 English with me, do join me this afternoon at 2:30 p.m. where we'll delve into another paper and look at some tips and tricks to help you increase your English confidence. Now, if you have any friends who are in secondary school and you would like to learn about O-level English, do join me at our next live at about 12:15 p.m. where we'll be looking at some O-level paper. All right. If there are no further questions, I'll see everybody around on TikTok. Bye bye.